Hi guys, this is Alex, and for my Module 5 Squishy Circuit activity, I had my students create a lanternfish. So a little bit of the lesson overview. This is designed for a first grade classroom, and this project would be completed at the end of the year during our Ocean Theme Week. We teach in themes all year long, and Ocean Theme is our last theme. We would use the book Fishy Facts by Ivan Chermayeff to accompany this lesson. I read it every year to my students and they always seem to love it. Now, students would have already learned about the zones of the ocean, and students would need some prior understanding of circuits before we started the lesson. This lesson does follow the engineering design process, and the first step of that is to ask. So after reading Fishy Facts, I would show my students the page of the lanternfish and present this problem. The lanternfish lives in the midnight zone of the ocean. Its lights on its body are no longer working, meaning it cannot attract prey to eat. Can you design a lanternfish with working lights? So for the imagine or research section, there was two parts to it. So the first thing we would need to look at is the lanternfish itself. And I would remind them of the zones of the ocean and that the lanternfish lives down here in the midnight zone. And I would ask them, using what you know about the midnight zone, why is it so important for the lanternfish to have lights? I would show them pictures of real lanternfish because the book has just an illustration, not a real photograph. And I would also ask them, what do you think would happen to the lanternfish if it did not have any lights? And the second part of this is to look at circuits. So by this point, I would hope students would have some type of understanding of circuits. I would have them go to this circuit simulation, which actually one of you had shared with me a couple modules ago. And this is actually really cool. If you go into the lab, you can add a battery and a light and show them where the wires go to make the light bulb light up. So it's kind of a great first step to circuits. And then I would actually have them kind of play around with some circuits, making a simple circuit with the squishy circuits and making the light go on or making the buzzer ring. Then I would have them plan out their design. So students would work in teams of 2 or 3 just because I wouldn't want them to fight over the materials. And students would be asked to sketch out their lanternfish and label their materials and the parts of a circuit to create a diagram. Labeling and diagram are both things we talk about in English language arts, so they would tie that in. And then they would create. So this was the process that I took while creating the lanternfish. I kind of made a little fish, and I added some dough, and when I tested out 1 light, it worked. And when I tested out 3 lights, it did not work. So I actually had to go right to the improve section, and I kind of changed the design of the lanternfish. And instead of going across, I did 2 long pieces here. And then the light did light up, and I was able to add multiple lights, and they both lit up for the lanternfish. But after that, I kind of did want to go back to my original design. And I realized that the dough, I needed to add the insulator to the dough to actually make the lights light up. Maybe that was why back here the lights weren't working. So after I improved my design, the lanternfish did have multiple lights that lit up. In the classroom, I would also ask the students, how can you add more lights to the lanternfish? What other classroom materials could you use? And would there be a way to create an easy way to turn the lights on and off? Here is the design tool 5.1. A couple things came out as somewhat, it's not really a real problem. The lanternfish is real, but I don't think my students would ever actually be creating a light for a lanternfish. And this did not involve as much math as I had hoped, but the rest came out as yeses, so it scored 20 points. So thank you for watching my lanternfish, and I can't wait to see everybody else's ideas.